Here is my recap of Dexter Season 3, Episode 11, entitled I Had a Dream. This is the next to last episode of this season. And as we left the last episode, Dexter was just kidnapped, thrown into the trunk of a car, had a hood on, and his hands were tied up. At the beginning of this episode, he's in that trunk. It's all red, kind of eerie looking. He's able to get the head thing off by tearing it on something inside the trunk. And then he's having some dialogue with his dad, and his dad's telling him, see, this is where this all led. You should have known what you were getting yourself into, but this doesn't have to be the end, his dad tells him. And so Dexter finds a way to tear off the tape around his wrists. And when he does that, the car comes to a complete stop, and he gets ready to fight whoever's on the other side of the trunk. The trunk opens up, and he immediately swings out at somebody and ends up hitting Masuka from the police department. Actually, everybody from the police department is there. They were kidnapping him for his bachelor party. So he goes to this bachelor party, and you see Miguel actually shows up and starts talking some weird stuff about friends and how friends, can tell each other secrets and all this weird stuff. And Dexter's just looking at him like, yeah, you have no idea what's coming for you. And later on, you find out as a result of this actual, bachelor party that Masuka actually slept with the person who set up this bachelor party. They hired somebody, and Masuka slept with this person and has Batista do a background check on her, and come to find out she actually ran somebody over with a car or attempted to, and she has a record. And that's when Masuka says, so she's not below me, she's on my level, which Batista just couldn't believe he had actually said that. So it's kind of a funny moment in the episode. We also have Anton, who was the CI, come in and gives an account of what happened to him. And you have Deborah try to reconnect with him in that scene because she's the only one that he'll talk to. And when she's there, she tries to reach out to him. They try to get close, but he's not having it. Later on, they go back. She goes with Quinn back to where he was found, and they're all talking, and Quinn's talking to her, and she says, I'm done with Anton. There's nothing there anymore. We broke up. And that's when Quinn tries to hit on her. She doesn't appreciate that. They then go back and they decide to look at some of the records of some of the, of the guy, the Skinner that they're after, since they know his identity now. Find out he was working on a project for somebody who is out of town. So Deborah has this idea that maybe he's staying there to hide himself. And sure enough, he was. They show up. Quinn sees him inside the house, chases him outside, and gets in a scuffle with the Skinner, and the Skinner cuts him across the head, and he gets away, and they call for help, and, the Skinner got away. So that's all we have with the Skinner in this episode. He's still on the loose, but because of everything that happens, Dexter has this great idea to kill Miguel for what's happened, and actually blame it on the Skinner, so he concocts this whole scheme. And how this comes about is Dexter starts doing some surveillance on LaGuerta and on Miguel to find out what Miguel's doing. And Miguel is over with, he got kicked out of his house. First of all, it's important to know that he did get kicked out of his house because of being caught over with LaGuerta at her house. Now, what was interesting about, and this is something I forgot to mention in the last episode, when Miguel's wife showed up at LaGuerta's house, she starts babbling on about how the night that the defense attorney was killed, that Miguel had disappeared the entire night. And LaGuerta's like, what? That's weird that he would have been gone all night. That gets her mind, she starts thinking. They actually do find somebody who was there the night that the defense attorney was taken and remembered seeing a black SUV with these big lights. LaGuerta puts two and two together because Miguel has a big black SUV. So she invites Miguel over to her house to have dinner. And she has ulterior motives to having him there. She concocts a scheme to leave something in the back of her trunk that she has to go get while they're cooking dinner. But when she goes out there, she has a kit and goes get some hair samples from well, does gets some tape and does some dabbing in the back of Miguel's car, takes it back to the police department the next day and asks Dexter, can you do just check the fibers and check it against the last 10 days of anybody who's come in with any type of evidence on any dead bodies. One of those was the defense attorney. She's on that list. Dexter does this using LaGuardia's credentials. Dexter's like, I don't want to get in trouble for this. LaGuardia tells him, I'll let you use my credentials to do the check. So he does. And all of a sudden it shows Miguel in a hotel room with his computer open. He gets an alert. He has a check on everything that's being done to kind of monitor if he's going to get caught and everything that's happening, and his cat and mouse with Dexter. And he sees that LaGuardia did a check on the hair samples that's going to match her dead body. So this puts LaGuardia on his crosshairs. He's now going to have to kill LaGuardia. Dexter goes to LaGuardia and he does the match and goes there and tells her, yeah, it does match him, and says, please, the best thing you can do at this moment is kind of hold off, build a big case against him, and then go after him. And Dexter's doing this because it's going to give him time to concoct his scheme to go get Miguel, kill him, and blame it on the Skinner. So the very last scene of this episode is Dexter at LaGuardia's house. He left a message there knowing that Miguel was going to go there to try and get her. He leaves a message on the machine telling LaGuardia, hey, I've got some information. Meet me at so-and-so place at 8 a.m. That's when Miguel notices it's like 8:35, and he immediately tries to leave out the door to go catch him. Not realizing Dexter had left that message, LaGuardia's never going to hear it. Dexter was waiting right outside the door. He tranquilizes him and gets him in a kill room. When he wakes up in the kill room, Dexter's like, finally, you woke up. And there's a picture of not only that defense attorney, but also LaGuardia's there, and he couldn't believe it. At this time, this is when Dexter, tells him, I thought of you as a friend. I had high expectations for you. You kind of crushed all of this. Now it's got to end. And he does admit to him, I'm the one that actually killed your brother. It wasn't Freebo. And this really sets Miguel off. And that's when Miguel starts screaming at him, telling it's not going to end here. This is just the beginning. I'm going to get you type of thing. And Dexter says, no, this is the end of the line for you. Puts a wire around him, just kind of the way that, some of the people who had been skinned kind of looked, and also the way the defense attorney was found with being strangulated. So he strangulates him and kills him right there. And then it goes to black and white, and that's how the episode ends. So what we have to deal with in this final episode is Dexter's on the way to get married. We've got to find out how he's going to pin the ADA, Miguel's death on the Skinner. This is all going to be explained in the final episode of this season. So we've got some fun stuff to look forward in that final episode. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You will be notified as my new recaps go up, every couple of days. I do appreciate the support. Look for the next review shortly.